Hi students, so this lecture, lecture 2, is going to focus on two things: avoiding plagiarism and referencing your sources properly. So the first part is trying to not do what we shouldn't do. So to plagiarism in academic writing means to steal other people's ideas, whether you mean to or not. Ideas and information. So the best way to avoid this is to cite sources. And so, which is the second part, we're going to give you tips on how to reference your sources, how to cite them properly. This way, you won't get this. So you will avoid plagiarism. Alright, let's take a look at what that looks like. First question we want to answer is, what is plagiarism? Well, you have the definition here. And then you have an example here. And then you have a tip here. So let me explain each one briefly. So plagiarism is to include somebody else's ideas, words, and research data information as your own. So what this means is if you use somebody else's words without saying who wrote it, what it is, where you can get it, and when you found it. So when you don't do these things, so there's no quoting or paraphrasing, or you paraphrase without answering these questions, then you are plagiarizing.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
You guys have your little coffee maker.
A plaid.
So another area where you could plagiarize is when you provide references but they don't match or they're inaccurate. So for example, you can cite something in the essay, author and year, for example in APA, you have your in-text citation, but you don't have it in your references. Or you have something in the reference, but there's no in-text citation.
Did you see Chantel? Did you see that? I'm having an appointment with her. Chantel.
Chantel?
Yeah.
Oh, she
was here, but I'm not sure where she's working on it.
So, just to review, we have the definition of plagiarism, which is using somebody else's ideas, words, or research data without citing.
I think if we're going to stay here, we need more plants.
And then examples would include, mismatch.
No.
So
Tomorrow is it.
remember the two places you need to cite in-text citation,
I know.
and
be sort of like here, but not here in the fall.
references.
Yeah.
When these don't match
Unless if you're desperate.
in your essay,
But
that also counts as plagiarism. So the tip for all this is, when you cite your sources properly and match your sources, match your citations, equals no plagiarism. or academic honesty, which is good news for you. And good news for the readers too. So in this lecture, every now and then you can get links. So for example, we have policies on what academic honesty means. So if you want more details, you can read about that. Different ways that students can cheat on their papers as well as exams. But again, we're focusing on avoiding plagiarism by citing properly. So here are some cases where if you plagiarize, things can happen. So there are mainly two main types of consequences, or two situations, two scenarios. One, let's say you made a mistake, an honest mistake. So for example, this reads, if the instructor concludes, that's me in this course, that you made a mistake, it's like once in your term paper, and you, let's say, miss one source out of 6, for example. Or you miss 1 or 2 citations in the essay. It's possible you may find yourself running out of time, you may find yourself running out of energy, or it's a new skill for you, so you may miss things, but you tried your best to cite everything. So then really, so you get fewer marks. You get some marks off, deduction. But you won't get a 0 because you're making an honest mistake. Which happens, and you do your best to learn from those, and we want to encourage you to keep going. Keep practicing. I mean, not making mistakes. And the more serious kind of infraction or scenario is where you intentionally copy other people's work. So this could mean the entire paper. This could mean paragraphs or parts of the paper. This can even mean sentences, even if it's just one sentence. If we conclude that you are being dishonest, trying to use somebody else's work as your own, then you get no marks. 0. And there are more consequences. The dean would know about this, and the dean, who is in charge of the department, thinks you've already have one or more of these. So this is your first time. So if you take another course at the same college and we find you doing it again, we really hope you don't, then you get a 0 for the entire course, which is really, really bad. So the main point here is don't plagiarize. It is better for you to get a really low mark for honest work and getting caught with dishonest work, a really good paper, but it's not your paper, and then you get a big fat 0. So 1 is still better than 0. So don't forget that. Remember, this is just English 099 for you. You have other courses you want to take, and you might not get everything the first time. Remember, it could take thousands of hours for you to become a good student in university, and you've just spent about maybe 50, 70 hours or so in academic writing. So you might not get everything the first time, and take other courses. It'll sink in. You'll get it. And we're here to encourage you to do that. So again, you have more information. It's the same page again. What academic honesty is about. So you've seen this already. All right, now here's the important one. If plagiarism is so scary, you get zeros, you probably want to know how to avoid it. Does that mean you don't write anything at all or don't copy other people's ideas? Well, the main thing you want to do is, yes, you can use other people's ideas. Use sources, but use sources to support your argument and cite your sources every time. Now, all these sources are really evidence. If you use sources for your paper, that's wrong. That's plagiarism. It's not your paper anymore. Remember, it's still your argument in this assignment. But you can use evidence from other people. And it's pretty easy for any reader, including maybe your tutor and maybe your friends. Anyone who can read English can tell whether you wrote this paper or somebody else did, as long as they can understand what your ideas are. So make sure you cite their sources and use them for evidence to build your argument. Again, so you have that main idea in mind. Here are some good tips on how to avoid plagiarism when you're doing your work. 1, you want to start early. Avoid situations where you would want to cheat. For example, if you run out of time, oh no, I don't have enough time to write my paper or do my research. Then you have to find some way to write a paper, and you might have to buy a paper or copy somebody else's paper or something. So a good tip for you here is UBC provides this assignment calculator where you can figure out how much time you need to finish. More than that, when to start and what to do each day. So this calculator, you can click on the link, click on Vancouver, and then the assignment calculator, you put in a date. So you should always put today when you plan to start something. Well, if it's the weekend, you might want to start Monday, but weekends are a really good time to start. So I'm going to use today's date as an example, and your research proposal is due same year, and it's due on the 13th. So you press calculate. You can even email this to yourself. It tells you have 5 days to finish. It's pretty obvious, but the fun part is each day you have specific steps. So step 1, if you started your assignment today, you want to understand your assignment. Here are some suggestions for that. Here are terms that you would use for writing assignments. Step 2, focus on topics. Do your working thesis. Now, mind you, this is all for writing papers. You can adjust these steps to, for example, writing your research proposal. We choose your research topic.
That's okay.
No, it's okay.
And then you can write your research proposal.
You can start now if you want. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
we
okay.
will finish it.
Okay. You might want to include, finding sources here.
Paper on here?
Yes.
Remember, assignment 3 has 6 parts. Maybe do 1 part each day. And if the first part's really short, then you have enough time. So parts 1 and 2, and then 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1 per day. 1 part per
Potentially,
day.
yeah. But
Okay, so
if it's not like
this website
every single line or something.
does the steps for you for papers, but you can use this process for anything. So yeah, it's your proposal. So use this process. I'll just finish it off. Start it off. Finish the parts. All parts.
So this is due on Monday or what?
Monday.
Okay.
Try to finish before the deadline, and then you can double check for exam.
That's a lot. It's a lot.
Again, spread your work in days or even hours.
Yeah.
Divide your work, in days or even hours to help you focus and schedule your assignments. Okay, other steps. Are things you've already done before. So, 2 is take careful notes on what you read. You can use the Cornell notes to do this. And part of your assignments, this is in part 4, in assignment 3, you're going to need to do this. Acknowledge all sources. So this is your list of sources, parts 2 and 3.
Okay. So I think what he's saying is...
Okay, and you can practice citing in your paper. Do these steps. Use direct quotes. Use paraphrase. Use summaries. Cite facts.
Or just would open it, yeah.
So your research proposal is for practice. And then
I think what he's saying is...
for your paper, you're going to do this for real.
Citation at the end, then it's okay. Yeah.
Assignment
And if you've got a couple, so I think that
4.
should be fine too.
Okay, now remember there are different styles, MLA, APA, and Chicago or CMS, but we want to focus on APA. That's what we are teaching you in this course.
Okay. So I think
And then,
you don't want to have this
when you double check your paper, you're not only editing, but you check. Basically, you check every sentence in your paper and ask these
I
questions.
think it will be okay if he says
Is the idea argument yours?
that's
Are these words your own if you're paraphrasing? And can my work
how much do you cite every sentence?
be clearly distinguished? That means, is it different? Is it unique from other people's work? The answer to these should be yes, yes, and yes for every sentence. Okay, and for more information, how to cite, there's the Always Cite button, and it teaches you how to cite. This site's pretty good. It's an interactive website that shows you how to cite, and it asks you the key questions about sources. You got the who, what, where, and when you click on these, it actually gives you the points you should do, what questions you should ask. So this is about the author, what type of source it is,
Well, all right.
where is about where you can find the source, when did they publish the source. You can go on this website and check all the different tips you can get on how to cite. If you want more details outside of the lecture notes, or if you want to practice a particular style.
So I think you can maybe read these. Like this is where it's
So UBC has its own style guide as well. So you can click on the links and find the details on how to cite here as well. And then the last one for this page on academic integrity. UBC has their policy too. So again, if you have any questions about the rules and how to avoid plagiarism, this is the place to go. And there's a video to watch if you just want a short explanation right here. Something like this. And you can watch this yourself.
So it almost sounds like he wouldn't mind if you did like Zhuang Pierce, like just at the end here, but I'm not totally sure if that's what he's saying.
So next, we talked about different styles, and we are teaching APA. So in the style guides that you can get from this website,
they would just
from For more information, you can find out what APA stands for, American Psychological Association, and it's used for specific courses, in this case, social science courses. And it includes in English too. It prepares you on psychology courses and sociology and so on. It emphasizes on the date, if you wanted to know, when things are published.
That'll create a unique.
So more information to compare these different styles are here if you want to know more.
And your opinion, so you're just supporting it.
And this link looks like
And I think
this.
that's what he wants. That's what most teachers want.
This writing lab has everything. So
They go about it in different
APA
ways.
guide. You
Okay.
can click on these and it tells you how to do everything. And it even gives you a sample that you can download.
This one is the person. So that's why I got these numbers, because this is from a different number.
So you can download this and print it. It has all the information you need. It has
Okay.
tips for you as well, how to do everything. So you can use this for this course and other courses too.
We would have to.
All right.
We'd have to have a name here because you're starting a new paragraph.
Yeah.
So what about the APA style? What do you need to do?
Yeah.
Now,
At the top.
much of this will be review because you have done some APA style citation already. This slide will tell you what APA style
That's what you're supposed
is,
to be doing, but what he said is to just
and
follow at the end.
it talks about the standards of writing
Yeah.
in
I guess
colleges, universities, and research organizations. So it includes the content, the writing style, how to cite, and how to prepare papers for publishing. And why use APA? Well, APA is used for social sciences. That includes psychology, linguistics, sociology, economics, and criminology. Sometimes you use it in business and nursing.
Yeah.
So if you're taking these courses, chances are you're going to use APA.
Young can content like I paraphrase the ideas.
If you take other courses that has MLA or Chicago or CMS, you should review these too for other courses.
I can't quite see into his mind there, but another way you could do it.
That will help you avoid plagiarism in any course, depending on the style. And this link is the same one. So I'll Purdue, the writing lab, has everything you need as far as citation is concerned. Okay, so
And then at the end.
the basic components of APA, it has formatting for the research paper. So that includes things like your running head. It has your pages like cover page. It has like double space. It has like Times New Roman and fonts and stuff like that. So that's your
own opinion and say Buddhism was a
formatting for your paper. You have in-text citations, that's in the essay.
If you follow that,
You can review
then it's like you're using
the lecture on citations
so that might be better.
to make sure you practice and understand it. And then there's also the references page. So at the end of the paper. Again, there's a references lecture that you can practice this skill too. Okay.
Like still they are living in homes, but they following the Buddhism principles. So third one is completely they sacrifice their whole life.
Okay, so first part, formatting your research paper.
This paragraph.
Okay, this is that's
Okay, so when you format your research paper, here are some important things you should do. One, the font should be Times New Roman, size 12. You should double space. Now, if you forget these points and how to do it on Microsoft Word, you can refer to the video in assignment 1.
Yeah, I mean, this is really good.
It's a video, you can see that one. Instructions on how to format your paper. So you have a title page. Make sure you include a title of your paper,
So I see
your name, and the university name. Now, sometimes in other courses, they want your professor's name and class number. Go with what your instructor wants. But now this course is simple. You just need your title, your name, and the university name. But check with your instructor. The header,
right, like
You want to have the running title aligned to the left and the page number. You want to indent every paragraph, so the first line indent.
Change the lives of women.
Yeah.
And
if you want to use subheadings, you can use these for your body paragraphs in your
and then you go into detail about the past.
Okay, first I tell the 3.
research paper. You can do that, so you can see the sample paper to do that.
Like according to then here, just according to 3 parts in the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but definitely.
Now, in terms of in-text citations,
like general.
remember into your review, there are 2 main types of citations in the essay. So you can either quote. Remember, there are methods to do this. There are free methods. 2 and free. But make sure you include who, that's the author, when, that's the year, and the page number, that's the where. Again, paraphrasing, in APA, you just need to include the who and the when, the year. You could put the page if you want to, but this is specifically in APA reserved for quotes.
Yeah, okay, I'll remove the according to the.
Okay, so if you use the citation more than once in a paragraph, make sure to specifically use page numbers for quotes, and make sure you include who and when in the first citation, and then say the year every time afterwards. So here's an example. So Bueller, that's the who, according to Bueller, 2017, that's the year. The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. That's actually from,
at the bottom. Yeah, because it's like,
well, a rhyme in My Fair Lady, but
Yeah, according to the. Okay, first I'll put the whole.
she wrote it, and that's the where in page 5 somewhere. So right now we only see the in-text citation, so we're wondering where the references is. We'll have to see that later. If you only have the in-text citation and no reference,
some of them became nuns as well.
Yeah,
probably. So like
only in-text citation and no reference, what's that called? That's called plagiarism.
Monks and nuns.
Can be an honest mistake probably,
So I don't know what
but you get marks off for that in this course. Make sure you have the reference too. But remember, you need the who, the when, and the where in your in-text citations. So remember, see citation lecture if you need more details in practice.
like that.
So this is the quoting or paraphrasing lecture.
And then this also.
Hey.
This will go with your interpretation. Okay.
For your references, I'm going to show you with Microsoft Word. Here are some details you need. Because you're working with 3 or more sources now, there's some more rules that you should follow. And this is more like the kind of reference you do for every other course from now on that has term papers. You want to list your items in alphabetical order by the last name of the first author, or the title if there is no author. And use hanging indent for each item. So there's a specific way to do this, and I'll show you in the video. Again, if you want to see
you got this other one.
see it in another place, you can check assignment 1 again, instructions, and learn how to do that. Most of you have done this, so good job.
Because then you can check it when your teachers ask for that.
In APA, for titles, you capitalize only the first letter of the first word. So, for example,
I don't want the whole PDF now. Oh, we're gonna check it for.
if it was, let's say,
Okay.
it's a book called Ender's Game. Here,
yeah. So
in APA references, you only capitalize the first word of the first letter. So that's APA, and that's the reference. And first word.
Yeah, I would have.
Journal titles, volume numbers, and commas, you italicize those in journals.
I don't know.
So you can check that again in the
Instructor sounds like he wants
citation
it at the
lecture.
end. But has he seen this paragraph?
Now here's some notes before we show you an example of the references.
Because
All the sources you've cited in the text, so in-text citations,
not too much citation. So
they must match
that means you're
your references. Now, what this means is two things. One, you write your essay and you cite, okay, I'll make this more proper. There you go. First line indent. And you make your citation here, and then this is called this A with a year, and then here you cite again the year. Now you can have more than one citation from a source, but they should match. Let's say if these are all from the same source, then you would list the source here like that. So let's say this is A1 year 1. So you have author 1 and then year 1 here, and then the rest more information.
Because you know that this
So if you can find it in the in-text citation,
it's also very weird that
you need to be able to find the right source in the references too. And also the opposite is true. If you find something in the references page, the paper should have a place, at least one place, where you cite that source in your essay. That's why I'm telling you this way. Your in-text citations must match the references.
at the end, and then I will do this one. There is no option for that.
Otherwise, no match.
To go through this, and because we've got like
Plagiarism.
empowerment having an impact on social status.
So be careful. Make sure you match each in-text citation
It's a
with
separate thing. I see how
a source.
Yeah,
this one is more like
this is more likely about the time and everything.
Okay, so here's an example of what that looks like.
so Buddhism just affected the status of women, and
So let's say this person, Bueller, wrote this book, The Rain in Spain. Okay, and we have the author's name, the who, that's the author.
empowerment, like they have more power in society.
That's the initial here, that's, you see the initials in the reference. You got the when, that's the year. And then this one should have the page number, the page range. Let's just make one
This is actually okay. Women's empowerment during Buddhism.
like that. Page 3 is in there. So that's your where.
Long term, short term.
Pages, page range. So the matching information would be the page number. So maybe you have 2 of these, or maybe more, maybe 3 plus citations. Okay, so I'll use another number like 2, just not so you won't get confused. You can have multiple citations in the essay on one source, on the same source. But again, if I find Bueller in the essay, for example, I expect to find a Bueller in the same year
The challenge is going to be
and the right page in the page range in the reference. So that's why they need to match.
and
In-text citation,
and just figuring out what each part is going to be about. And like how you're going to write it, because there are different
each
ways to write
one
it.
that you
So this
use
one
needs to
you
match
could write about
a reference.
things like the different positions
Okay,
that
and the reference, each source in your references must match at least one in-text citation. So they need to match.
Family life with the Buddhism.
Yeah.
Right, kind of.
Okay, so here is a sample reference page.
First idea is the balance.
and then you have like 3 different.
So here we have 3 different sources. 1, 2, 3. Now in your page, you won't write the numbers. I'm just counting the sources for you. And these are alphabetical order. B, B. Okay, this one had more word authors, so it counts as more letters.
But see, like
So it's after the first one, and then P, that's after B.
That should
Okay,
probably go
so
up
here we have 3 sources.
how, when it happened, how it happened.
So we are expecting at least
was,
Exactly.
yeah.
Because that's usually the way people approach it is
At least
about it,
3
but
individual
what happened,
in-text
and then in
citations.
detail.
First history and then the concept.
Yeah, and then the 3 different ways. And then you talk about those 3 ways in detail and you say, well, you know, like mainly, okay, it changed their...
I'm telling you this many times just so you can avoid one of the most common honest mistakes in citation.
They went to the monastery and they burned themselves, but they didn't always
So
just burn themselves.
they need to match again.
Yeah.
Right, so that should go together.
Your
They became nuns.
citations.
And they were, you know, famous nuns and things.
That's very important.
You know, before that, with each of these points, you're going to contrast it with the
Okay.
Confucianism.
Yeah. That.
So before I talk about your homework,
There is no comparison. So if I do comparison with my own, so that's
I'll show you what that would look like in Microsoft Word.
Yes,
So here,
then you will have achieved that.
yeah. Because
instead of reference, you put references. You'd make sure
That's really like
all of this is double space, so you can click here, double space,
and research and their own ideas together.
But
and then you can right click, for example, go to paragraph in the middle, and look for this option, the special, and you want hanging indent. So I'll show you the differences now.
That's super important.
So let's say we had none.
That's a third.
I press OK.
Is that whole thing. Okay, so the first
All the lines now are on the left.
right.
The second one,
That's no good.
do about the status.
Instead, you select your sources
Maybe, like the effects.
and have hanging indent.
Effects on their status.
That's the first thing. Most of you have done this. Good job. Next, you want to check the order of the sources. Here you got an S, a D, a B, a B, and a P.
Right.
So just think about it for a moment, how you would order these 5 sources as an example. Which one would go first?
Impact on social status.
Okay, so in alphabetical order, you would have the B's first.
More socially engaged with the
So you could cut and paste these sources in,
So I'll start with
and then the next letter would be D,
Yeah, you can think about that
and
as
cut
like how
that
they
and
changed their
paste that
status
there.
at the time, how their status
and then the last one, for example, okay, I got my P,
developments and status
so I put that
changes,
down.
developments.
B, B, D, P, and S. So now they're all in alphabetical order. And you can follow the APA citation guide to cite these sources properly.
Because of or changing, you know, women's
Okay,
genitals and
so
society.
homework.
But it's really about their status too.
yeah.
So
And then
make sure you read and practice the PowerPoint how to cite
this is where your thesis is.
in
So
APA. That's very important. So this is for your term paper. Anything that requires APA is going to be very useful. In your course pack, review page 128 to 132, how to avoid plagiarism. Write your reference page for your research essay. I'll change that a little bit. For your research proposal, try writing one of these.
So you could make this a little bit stronger.
So that's in your assignment
Like,
3.
For example, so why is that?
And
this is this is
after
pre-modern
your proposal,
This is before
Okay.
1949.
Okay, so this is
write your outline.
modernization.
Yeah.
But
And
really make
outline.
a point in your thesis that it
Use your reference page for the essay.
really large scale social changes.
Don't worry,
in the status of and
there's
that
no special
part
paragraphs or APA citation quiz in this course, but I do recommend you test
That's
yourself
quite important.
That in ancient history
by practicing.
was not
Practice
as much
and
as
check on your own.
but little in the during the
Practicing and checking.
during the Buddhism.
So, if you have any questions, again, you can post on week 4 discussion
Change the status of women. So that
or email me directly.
country.
Again, make sure you start your research proposal now and get all your sources and practice citing these in your references page. All right, we'll see you next time.
The clear statement is also.
Oh yeah, sure.